So is vaping actually bad for you? I'm a licensed counselor, and here's what I know and what I don't know. So, what the hell's in this shit? Anyways, when it comes to vaping, there's a couple different elements. One, you have the nicotine addiction, and then you have the physical health consequences of it. And that's what we really don't know is how bad for you is this? Like with cigarettes, it takes decades for you to have the severe consequences like cancer, emphysema, and vaping's popularity really hasn't been around that long. So we don't know for sure in a couple decades of people vaping all the time if it's going to have the same or similar effects. But most experts are agreeing that it's very unlikely that it is as bad for you as actual cigarettes. Cigarettes have about 7,000 toxic chemicals. Vaping, we don't know exactly how many they have, but it's certainly less than that. We've all heard stories in the media of people dropping dead from vaping, which is true. I actually had one of my clients who's one of the first kids to almost die from this. He came like this close of dying from something called popcorn lung, which I always thought was like popcorn, like legions growing on your lungs. But it's actually from decades ago where popcorn factory workers were dropping dead from the same chemical that makes things taste buttery. We then found out the deaths were actually coming from homemade oils that were THC based and not the big nicotine companies like Juul that took a lot of flack for it. The second part of the equation is addiction to nicotine itself. Nicotine, surprisingly, isn't the deadly chemical found in tobacco. In fact, some people think it may actually have certain benefits cognitively, like staving off Alzheimer's, but also a cognitive enhancer. However, there are some issues with blood pressure and making you more likely to have heart conditions later on. The problem is nicotine is one of the most addictive substances on the planet. Interestingly, cigarette smoking has been on a steady decline even till today because of really good public health efforts. However, in 2011, with the popularity of vaping, much more people are addicted to nicotine today, and it's especially a problem among teens, where 30% of them have said that in the last 30 days they vaped. So you have a whole generation who are becoming addicted to nicotine. One of the issues is it's highly correlated with mental health and future substance use issues among these teenagers whose brains are still developing. Now, we don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. People with mental health, are they more likely to vape anyways? But there is enough evidence to show that they are much more likely to develop future substance use problems being addicted at such a young age. At the end of the day, it's safe to say that vaping is likely safer than smoking cigarettes. However, not being on nicotine is preferred to vaping. Nicotine addiction sucks. People often struggle with cravings their entire lives. You don't want to be a slave to anything. Take it from me. Now, where the f is my Juul?